For the past couple of days, I have been using this app called Indigenous. Now, this particular app is basically a client for an Indieweb based website. I mentioned a few days ago that I have implemented Indieweb module on my Drupal site, ravisagar.in. And once you enable the module, you have to configure it. You have to make sure that you have the right content type, you have the fields that you should have, and when you configure the module, you will have an option to basically use your site to maybe send a web mention or receive a web mention. That is, of course, one aspect of it. So let me share today what I have been doing with this particular Indigenous app. Now, using this app, I can take a look at what other Indieweb compatible sites are posting. So I follow few people whose sites are on maybe Drupal or maybe some other CMS, or it is a custom built site, but they follow the Indieweb standard. Now, when I like their post, I'm basically storing a like on my site, and I'm also sending them a web mention. The same is true for Twitter. If, let us say, I like a Twitter post, not only I can like a Twitter post on Twitter, but I am doing it on my site. If you go to my site, you will see a list of things that I have been doing, list of activities on the home page. I don't really show the likes, but I share my check-ins, for example. So yes, I can also check in on my site. So when I check in, I can simply use the mobile app to store or send the current location along with maybe a few other details, maybe a picture, for example. And when I check in, the check-in is stored on my site. Now, whenever I'm sending a content to my site, or whenever I'm doing something on my site, it could be using the Indigenous mobile app, or it could be directly on the website. I can also choose to syndicate it. So when I am liking something on Twitter, or let us say if I write a blog post, I have the option to syndicate it. The option to syndicate is really good because let us say I write a note and I share it on Twitter. I syndicate it on Twitter. Now, when someone is liking my post on Twitter, those likes are coming back to my site as a web mention. So I can see on my blog post, this particular post was liked by this user on this particular date. And the good thing about this particular process is that the content is always with me on my site. So content like your note, your article, which could be a blog, the likes that you're doing, the reply to other Indieweb compatible sites, you can repost it, you can do bookmark, you can also have something that you want to read. You can also create an event, you can RSVP to an event, you can create an issue, you can check in, you can create a venue, you can also track your trip, and there is one more option called geocache. So I'm just giving you a list of things that you can do with Indigenous app, and I think in most cases this is, at least for me, it is sufficient. Of course, this will only work when you have Indieweb compatible site or a platform. So Twitter is somehow, or to an extent, is compatible. So when I like a Twitter post, I'm liking it on Twitter, but actually I'm not really leaving my site at all. The like is on my site. Same is true for reposting. I'm yet to try the reply to a Twitter post, which I believe should work, but I will try it out and I will let you know. The best part is that when you're using this mobile app, the mobile app is actually an app for any Indieweb site, Indieweb compatible site, but it feels like any social networking site like Facebook or Twitter. I hope in future more platforms are also compatible with this Indieweb based specifications. So you can basically keep the content on your own site and you can syndicate elsewhere. And you can also interact with other compatible indie websites. So far I am quite happy with what I have been able to achieve. I'm I'm a member of Indieweb community. I have been following their principles for quite a while now, couple of years now. But it was only recently that I started also using the mobile app, and I also made sure that my site is configured so that it can work with the Indigenous mobile app. And I really want to say thank you to the developers of the mobile app and of course the whole Indieweb community. I think uh, this is what each and everyone should be doing. They should have their own website, and if possible, they should also try to keep it compatible to an extent with the guidelines from Indieweb community. So this is all I wanted to share in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.